All right. We are officially, everyone, I know you've been waiting for this time. 4:30 is officially happy hour. Excited. It's Josh from Art of Business, of course. We got Geno. What's up, Geno?
I am so happy to be here. I'm looking forward to a great hour. Although I told Josh I got confused. I started drinking at noon. I
I,
didn't
I
know we
know.
started at
This
4:30.
daylight saving things, it gets very confusing. I know. It's like
Messes everything up, Josh.
it really does. I understand. So first and foremost, Geno, this is your. I'm so grateful for your joining my happy hour. I've done a few of these now. One of the most important parts of happy hour is to have a toast and celebrate and ask you what your beverage of choice is today.
Well, let's have a toast. And my beverage of choice is the same as yours. I'm drinking a great glass of tequila.
Ah, I love it. So
Salute.
cheers, everyone. So all right. So the topic today, let's dive into it. You ready? And thank
Thank
you
you.
for everyone for joining. Hopefully you're all filtering in. And we're really excited to try to be able to see and witness everyone's comments here. If I can multitask, that's always my toughest part. All right, we'll figure this part out later. But anyway, our topic today, it is 1 year ago that this crazy pandemic basically shut down our salons. And it was, I'm sure we all have our own personal stories of what was going through our mind and what life was like. But I felt like in honor of that 1 year mile marker, there's no better person than you, Geno, to join us, because what I was feeling is gratitude. Gratitude. I remember that feeling when we all came back in June or July, whatever state you were in, and how amazing it was to be back in the salon.
Sure.
And I kind of feel like we've lost that. You know, the now that the bullets have been flying for a while and we're tired and we're exhausted, I feel like I go in a lot of salons and that gratitude's not there. And there's no one better than you that can bring inspiration and gratitude in this industry. So I guess first of all, thank you. And just, what's on your mind? What have you been doing this last year? Let's get started.
Well, you are welcome. And it's both a pleasure and an honor to be here. And I want to thank all of you also for joining us. And I'm looking so forward to seeing you in person. I have really missed not seeing anybody in this last year. What's on my mind? Well, it's always great to be with the Hafetz family. I mean, there's no one quite like you left in the beauty industry, all of you.
Well,
And
it's very
I,
sweet of you.
I often talk about your dad and your mom, and I talk about your
He's
dad.
watching, so you could say hi.
Oh, good. Hi, Howard. Your dad has been in the beauty business since he was born, his whole life, including your grandfather. And, he must have really liked it because all four of you children are involved in the beauty industry in one way or another. And I think that's a fabulous thing because people don't realize, and your dad does, the importance of letting your heart get home before your head does. You know,
Oh, that's great. I love
yeah,
that.
yeah.
That's very applicable to my dad in all the wonderful ways that you mean.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. On a personal note, it's been a year of discovery, a year of learning, a year of trying to help our industry just like you have. I mean, I've done a million Zooms and helped people with their loans and helped people learn how to get through this. And Josh, it's tough because it has been a crazy year and it's been a trying year. And I'm afraid now people are just going to bust loose, go nuts, and party. And I'll tell you, the thing that I've learned more over the last year than anything else. The two great things about COVID, I've learned how to pack on weight. Boy, I can gain some weight. And I've learned that
You
you
look
can.
svelte. Zoom, I think Zoom removes at least 15 pounds. I
Well,
don't
I
know.
should maybe stay on Zoom. That
Yeah.
the other thing is that I've learned how to drink all day long, not just late in the day to the evening, but all day
Geno,
long. The,
Geno, I know you knew how to do that long before
yes,
COVID. So
indeed.
let's not
Yes.
bullshit each other. So,
Yeah. But
uh,
the reality, Josh, it's been kind of cool. I've really taken advantage of the time and I've read a lot. I've read a lot of books, done a lot of study online and trying to navigate our new normal. And I'll give you a minute to talk in just a second. I think you're exactly right, Josh. The momentum has changed and everybody that was so excited really is losing that excitement because you do work a little harder than you did before.
You do. And so let me ask you a question then. What advice or any nuggets that you'd want to share with the stylists and the owners out there that and just how you control that mindset, or what you couldn't do to keep that fire burning, just given that maybe there's some fatigue setting in.
Fatigue is human nature. Burnout is human nature. There's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing to be embarrassed about it. It's something that everybody goes through. But the reality is that you have to find a way, and you have to find a place to. When you were talking earlier about gratitude, to be gracious is what grants us gratitude, to start the day being thankful for what we have, and not focusing on what we don't have. The good part is it's been a trying year for everyone. The bad part is it's typical of our industry. I mean, you deal with products. When a hairdresser gets a new product, they go crazy for a month or two, and then they let it get old. And one of the things I try to tell people, Josh, all the time is, look, if you're not careful, life can become dull and boring. Life is dull and boring to dull and boring people, but your primary focus is to find a way to keep it alive, and keep it
Wait,
exciting. And
I gotta hold on. Let me savor that moment. Let me let it sink in. Life is dull and boring to dull and boring people.
no doubt about it.
I love. So what's the opposite of that? Life is amazing to amazing people, or
I think
life is
so. Yeah, I think
exciting. All right, I'm gonna drink to that. I love that one.
I think a lot of us are really onto and understanding that, as cliche as it may sound, life is really what you make it. Beauty is really what you make it. And you have to be careful, kind of monitor yourself. I mean, anybody that's got a relationship understands that you have ebbs and flows. You have a great week and a bad week and a great week, but you don't run away. And the reality is you just don't lose your passion. You got to keep the passion alive. Here's the great thing about me, Josh. I accidentally fell in love with the beauty industry in 1974 when I walked into a hair school, and I've never lost the love since. I've loved everything about us from that day till today. And I think a lot of people lose the love, and it becomes labor.
Well, let me ask you this, because clearly it's evident in any of my interaction with you, and I'm sure everyone would say the same. Like you have that love. You always have that that passion, and I'm sure when the lights are off and no one's around, like it takes like it's got to take effort. Like I have to believe that it's not an accident that you are the way you are. So I guess my question is, like, what do you what is it's not what do you do, or how do you look at your own, what you can control in your own mindset that might be instructive for somebody else? Because I know it's not accidental. I know there's more to it than just you love the industry.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, uh, I think many of your followers, a lot of our customers and our fans, kind of know my story. But I grew up in just, when people tell me that they were poor, I always say to them, I know what poor is. We were dirt poor. And I don't know, a lot of people, I have a sister that never got over that. But I have a couple of other sisters that really understood how lucky we were kind of to make it through. And I think a lot of times people, you used a great word, Josh. You said, how do you control that? A lot of people can't come to grips with the fact that not only do we control it, but you can create it, Josh. You can create a better life. You can look for inspiration every day in your friends, in your family, in what's happening around you, in the things that you do have, in what you read and what you study. I was on the BBR reset last night, and I talked about, right behind me is all these books. But my favorite book, I have the first edition, 1952, The Power of Positive Thinking by Dr. Norman Vincent Peale. I'll tell you what, Josh, I read it every day because I think today you need that positive push. You know what
Hmm.
I mean?
Sure. Well, and it's funny. So for you, you have a daily uh,
Ritual.
moment where you feed yourself someone else's words, and whether you know it or not. I'm sure you do. You are that daily. You could be that daily push for a lot of people in our industry. So, thank you for that service you provide, and
You're
hopefully,
welcome.
some of the individuals, including myself, that are on this Facebook Live will use that. Let me ask you a question. We talked about Geno, and we talked the other day about just the way the world is right now, and everyone is tired and just mentally extended from this COVID stuff, and just life in general beyond COVID. The salon is a unique moment for our customers. It's a sanctuary. Talk to me about just how you look at that, and maybe any input or advice that you might have for everyone watching, just in how to retain and leverage that special place the salon has for our customers.
Well, I think we are in the most special place ever, Josh. People have seen us in a different light through COVID. Everybody is seeing things differently, and seeing a different way of living and a different way of being. I think the customers today have really taken to the fact that we're more than necessary. We're more than important. They not only need to have the added confidence of knowing they look their best, they need to come into the salon and forget about life. They need to kind of live through us. So really, I feel like it's our opportunity. Give up your old habits, develop new habits, take charge of your clientele. I can't see any reason why anybody can't double or triple their retail sales right now, because I think customers understand the importance and value of using great products, of taking care of themselves. Like, we've all been given a little bit of a lesson, Josh, and a lot of people have really taken to that lesson in regard to, I'm going to take care of me, and hell, that's who we are, and that's what we do.
This might be a bit out of left field, so forgive me. I'm going to throw a curveball at you. You just touched on retail. Yeah, you know what? Sorry. We good call. Good
Cheers.
call. Everyone, cheers. Feel free to enter in the comments what you're enjoying. Hopefully, you're enjoying a drink. It is. I think it's one day away from St. Patty's Day, if that matters to anyone. So anyway, you mentioned retail, and I just had a thought. I think a lot of consumers out there, customers of salons, want to support their salon, want to support small business. There's a new resurgence of shopping local and supporting small business, in my judgment, anyway. Yet I don't know that I've seen salons and hairdressers really capture that to the degree that I think that's available to us on the retail side of things. Any thinking on that? Any just advice or thoughts on that?
You're exactly right. And we do this all the time. We think about Christmas in December, and you should be thinking about Christmas in August. We think about holidays the month of the holiday, and we should be thinking about those holidays 3 or 4 months ahead of time and preparing. We are on a perfect pitch right now to change the way we do business with customers. Yet we haven't changed anything. We're going right back to work with the same dialogue,
Right.
with which I'll tell you, Josh, that I'm going to be at the gallery the 16th and 17th of May. By the way, all of you, it's limited seating. Get on the horn.
Yeah.
And
You, so you beat me to the punch. Thank you. We're gonna, in the recorded version of this, which will be on Art of Business's Facebook, there'll be a link to the flyer. We're bringing Geno in, so you get to see him live and in person. Analog, not digital. You get to see him analog in live.
I'll tell you, Josh, that's what a lot of what I want to talk about. That's why I called it best practices in beauty. I think people need to up their game a little bit right now in our industry and really pay attention to what the world is telling us. And you know what? You must find a way to reap the harvest. Just because it's COVID doesn't mean you crawl into a corner and pass out. I mean, last year I was talking to somebody about the stock market's been wonderful to me this last year. And I haven't done hardly any work at all. But you know what? Last year, I just started talking to friends and looking at things. And I thought, might be a great time to buy into beauty. Might be a great time to buy into Home Depot. Might be a great time to buy into Costco, and where people are shopping at home, and some things will never change. Not that I want to go into a rampage here, but
Is this a stock picking?
no.
I'm pulling us back. Where the hell are you going with it? So, by the way, Rena says hi. She's drinking rosé, and Bethany says hi, drinking Malbec. Just looking at some of the comments here. Anyway,
I love it, ladies. Cheers. And Rena, thank you so much for your kind words all the time. I do see them online, and I really do appreciate your support and friendship.
So, all right. So, Gino, let's. I'm reeling you back in here. So, um, you mentioned the new normal. I know that gets thrown around a lot. Like for you, and just really for the industry, what does that mean in terms of like finding our new normal? So, and what would be your mindset into? Because I don't know that the world is ever going back to what it was, but it's going to get better than what it has been the last 6 months. So, what does it mean to find your new normal for you?
Well, you know, first of all, don't be confused thinking this is all going to go away and we are going to go back to where we were. That will never happen, ever. It's going to be different. It's going to be different even as a result of the last year, but we all deserve the best possible life we can create. One of the reasons, Josh, we've always been passionate about the beauty industry is I try to get beauty professionals to understand that just by doing things right, by paying attention, they could not only make so much more money, but really feel a whole lot better about who they are and what they do and what they offer. So all of us need to learn in our own particular way how to navigate this, how to navigate the new normal, almost to create the new normal for you, for your family, for your salon, for your life. But I do think time is of the essence, and we've got a great window right now, Josh, where we can
Yeah.
really overtake our businesses. We can really take over the customer and not let them tell us, but be the true professionals that we are.
Yeah, actually, you made me think of something. I'm curious to where your thinking is on this. This is a bit of an older debate. It was sort of coming out of COVID, coming out of the shutdown. There was this whole debate on pricing and productivity and not being able to have the turn as many clients as normal. But to extend that even larger, I think that there was this general appreciation, as you stated earlier, for your hairdresser. Like when clients couldn't get their hair done, this appreciation for our industry grew tremendously from the public at large. And I think there was a debate amongst the hairdressing community about raising prices to sort of accommodate for the new normal and COVID and the rules associated to it. And some that said, I don't want to do that to my customers, blah blah blah. And I'm just curious, like, all right, so now we're 8 months out of 6 to 8 months coming back. What is your philosophy on pricing, on just and if you were a hairdresser, or advice to hairdressers on how they should look at their pricing?
Well, uh, one thing to grasp is that this is the beauty industry and everyone has a right to do things the way that they think things should be done. We are all artists, so we all have an opportunity, and everything and everyone fits. I think if you feel the necessity to raise prices, you should. I can tell you that the public, the consumer, our customer, they're more than willing to help us. They are willing to pay a little more. They understand that it's been hard. They understand that we've been closed for 3 or 4 months. I can tell you that tonight after we're through, I'm ordering dinner from my favorite Thai restaurant. The dinner usually is about $50, and I give them a $25 tip every time I go because I want to help them stay open and stay alive. And that's how people feel about us. So with pricing, I think you've got to look at only one thing. Are you delivering more than the customer expects for that money? That's all. And if that's happening, it doesn't matter what you charge, you'll fit.
What would be an example of that? I love that, but I feel like it's very esoteric. So maybe just to give some like one or two real tangible examples of delivering more than what the general baseline expectation might be.
We do it simply with professional products because they're better than a store-bought product. There's a higher quality, they're better made. Those of us that train, that educate, that you are a master at your career, that adds value, that you do a great consistent service all the time, that you dress well for your guest. And as now more than ever, Josh, which really I am going to talk about a lot in May, you've got to be very careful of your dialogue. People don't realize, but your dialogue can be up to 80% of what a customer feels value is when they leave. So when the customer gets out in the car, they're going to think about you and they're going to think about what you talked about. So I've always preached if you want to add value to that relationship, don't talk about anything bad. Don't talk about COVID. Don't talk about Trump. Don't talk about politics. Let everything go. The sanctuary. Talk about beauty. Talk
Yeah.
about health. Talk about wellness. All of that adds value to the service, to where a customer gets in the car and says, wow, you see what people don't realize, Josh, when we don't do an expert 100% job, we've actually given the right to the customer to shop around.
Yeah. I love that. Real quick though, on the dialogue thing, I'm a big believer in that. But let me ask you a question. I get to ask this every now and then. Yeah, thank you.
Very small glass.
I might, I'm gonna have to refill mine.
You and me both.
Yeah. So controlling the dialogue, controlling your own dialogue. But what about when your client inserts negative dialogue or just dialogue that you feel like pierces the sanctuary bubble, or even the bubble of like you want to focus on educating your client, beauty, peace, happiness. Your client is in a different space. Any thoughts on that?
Well,
I'm going to
I
refill,
think
by the way, while you're.
yes. You know what? I will refill also. Unfortunately, I should be with you because you've got a much bigger bottle than I do.
I don't
But
think
my
it's. I
bottle's
think
beautiful. Look
yours is
how
a
pretty
pretty
this
bottle.
is.
Yeah, it's
It's
pretty.
like an artistic creation. Look at her hair. She's got the long bob. It's one of the few haircuts I did well. It really is.
Did
So,
they all walk out with a long bob?
most of them did, no doubt about it. Most of, hey, listen, you got to stick with what works, baby. You got to stick with what works for you. So, I guess what we need to do is frame the conversation as a true professional. We allow the customer to talk to us about things like that they wouldn't talk to their doctor about, or they wouldn't talk to their lawyer about. So you've got to frame dialogue right from the start. And I think the greatest question to ask the minute you first see them is, oh gosh, yeah, it's been a crazy year. Just go ahead and admit it, but then say, what's happening great in your life right now? You
Love
know,
that. So
what's
redirect and
happening?
then a pot. So you acknowledge and then redirect.
Absolutely. And then you continue to redirect, to present, to be a presenter, to present yourself to a customer, to be a presenter, to present is to persuade. And we have difficulty sometimes getting people to understand that in order to be a successful, profitable hairdresser, salon owner, beauty professional, you have to give them a nudge. You have to persuade them sometimes. You have to persuade them through knowledge and understanding to get them to buy into, your thinking, right?
Agreed. And I think, it's funny you say that. I was actually doing a class today, and this idea of, it's a very common thing. Oh, hairdresser, we're not salespeople.
Of
But
course.
on the contrary, hairdressers are extremely persuasive and valuable resources of information and in beauty for the life of their client, right? They are the ultimate influencer. If you are fulfilling your role as a hairdresser, there is no one that is a bigger influencer for beauty and fashion in your client, in that person in the chair's life than you, right? And
Absolutely.
and so I like that you say persuasive. Some call it selling, but ultimately, we have an incredible ability to persuade if we do it with education and information, which I agree totally.
Most beauty professionals are more persuasive out of the salon than they are in the salon. They just don't take that professionally. And then they don't real. And one of the things I talk about all the time, Josh, is look, how much is it costing you to think like you think? And then how will you
I like
change
that.
that?
How much
Yeah.
is it costing you to think like you think? That's
So if
good.
you think you're a hairdresser, you're not a salesperson. How much do you think that's costing you when the reality of life is we're all in sales? And to the
Yeah.
degree that you can sell will have everything to do with how you raise your children, your relationships. I mean, everything and everything.
That,
Now, I don't want to cut you off, but
no, go ahead.
there is one more thing that you and I talked about that I think this could be a perfect time, and that is we are very emotional. And I had talked to you a little bit about reacting or responding.
Yeah.
And I think that in many times, in many ways, we are reactive versus responding. And here's the difference. To react is a 100% emotional. A client says something and you boom and just don't even think, you just start to speak. To respond is to mix logic with emotion and think first before you speak. How should I handle this? What's the best words I should use? So you have to be prepared, because you know a client's going to say, well, I'm using XYZ shampoo from the supermarket. What do you think about that? If you're prepared, if you think before you speak, you know exactly how to answer that. Well, to be honest with you, I don't know, because that's not a professional product. And as a licensed professional, I only use professional products. But wait, if I can have another second, let me share with you. If that was the best product you could use, it would be on our shelves here inside the salon.
I love that. It's funny. Again, I was just doing a class today, and that came up. And of course, you don't want to be in a situation where you have to say something bad about the product. It's a great way to handle it. Where I only use professional products, so I can't really speak to that. But what I can tell you is that we choose these products because of blah blah blah. That's really good.
Right.
Yeah. I wanted to recap though when I was trying to when I was trying to get in earlier. There were two Genoisms that so far that are my favorites. That are one was the most recent one was how much is that? Say that again. The way you were thinking. How much
How
is that
much is it
costing you?
costing you to think like you think?
Thank you. How much is it costing you to think like you think? And the one early was I just forgot it. What was it? Oh my God, what was the one that you said in the beginning?
Oh,
Oh, this
don't
tequila.
ever ask me that. I have no
Oh
idea.
no, this
It'll
tequila's
it'll
getting to
it,
me.
it'll probably come out again. It'll probably come out again.
Oh
If
goodness.
anybody else knows what I started with,
Yeah,
then
type it in the.
yeah,
I
type it in.
highlighted it in the very beginning. Someone type it in the comments. I blew it. Oh man, it was. Oh goodness. All right, it's gonna come to me. It'll
And
come to me once we're done, and I'm
yeah,
gonna like freak
yeah,
out.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's
All right.
very difficult for me, Josh, because I really do live by one-liners. I have hundreds of them, and I live by them because I think they're so very powerful.
Steve
Sort of
Steve
like,
from Art of Business said, "Don't worry, we're recording it." And then someone Brian from Salon True noted that the tequila is definitely kicking in for me. So we might need we're up on our half hour mark, which is about what happy hour is meant to be. So maybe we should let me just ask you a general question, Geno. So appreciate you spending time. Is there anything like we didn't get into yet that you just felt like, yeah, it's something I want to share?
uh,
You think we
no,
nailed it all? I don't mean to
I,
put you on the spot.
no, I don't think we nailed it all, but I do think that we're in a good place, and I think that some stuff will come up. If you don't mind, let me give an example to you of reacting or responding, and I'm going to read right off my page, because
Please do.
this is something that I use all the time, Josh, and I think it's so important that people really have to understand, not just beauty professionals, people. When you
Oh
react,
wait! I remembered it. Hold
what
on. Can I
what
interrupt
was
you? I
it?
remembered it. I remembered it. It was something to the effect of like something boring things happen to or bad
Oh,
things happen to bad people, or what was
life
it?
is dull and boring to dull and boring people.
Thank you. Life
Yeah,
is dull and boring to dull and boring people.
it's
Thank you.
true.
Oh,
Think about it. The next person you see that tells you, God, life sucks, it's just been one bad thing after another. And I can't live. The first thing you think about is, you poor thing. Who has to live with you? You know, why, why do you talk about shit like that? Who really, I'll tell you, I think sometimes people don't even stop and think about, I've got a load of crap in my mind. I really don't need anybody else's. I'm trying to figure my stuff out.
we could have a third now. We could have a third. I have a load of crap in my mind. I can't think about anybody else's.
Right. I'm
Yeah,
trying to figure my,
that might come across as a little bit self-serving, but yeah,
well,
I like it nonetheless.
kind of what I'm saying is that, what are you known for? I mean, if you were to ask all of your clients, what do you think you're known for? I'm going to tell you that every
Ooh, I like that.
client has figured something out about you. Here's what I'm known for. I'm known for all things good. I don't talk bad about anybody or anything
And you
anytime.
truly are, by the way, and that's
Uh,
what I love about you. You
well,
truly are.
you know why, Josh? We all suck. We're all stupid. We all do things wrong. On the other hand, we're all good. We all try, and we're all doing the best that we can. You know what? I'm having a hard enough time trying to judge me, keep me straight. I don't have time to figure out and judge somebody else.
You just said something there that was sort of getting to the crux of my question that was a while ago, which is, I know it takes effort to have that, what you just said, to always be positive, to make that your thing when people know you about it, because you have the same self-doubt, shitty days, all the stuff that everyone else goes through, but you make a conscious choice to just be what you are. And I think that, not only do I appreciate that about you, I just, that was the thought behind the question, which was like, how do you make it takes effort to make that choice, and
Yeah,
that's just what I was
yeah.
getting at.
I've always believed, Josh, that I really do feel like I have no right to share my crap with you. I know that you've got something going on. I think sometimes we don't, again, respond, stop and think for a minute. When you think you're going through something terrible, think of the people that are going through something like you've never imagined. Like
Right.
when we talk about how tough this last year with COVID has been, my goodness, the bulk of us haven't gotten COVID. First of all, we're winning that. Also, we've put food on the table somehow, and gee, that's a great thing. I mean, there's a lot of people that haven't done that. A lot of us are helping a lot of the people that haven't. I mean, I think people overlook all the time how lucky they are. I don't know if you were on last night, but last night we got into a little
I
thing
did
on
say it.
BBL.
Yeah.
I said to everybody, look, you have to understand something. Do you know how lucky you are just to be in America? I mean, I know it's nuts and
Yeah.
it's not what it was, but here we are born with freedom. For every moment you're alive in this country, someone is dying in someplace else in the world for what you were born with, freedom. I
Yeah.
mean, that kind of puts how much luckier do you think we're going to be?
Well, not
We're
only kept uh, Warren Buffett's thing, I'm butchering it, but not only are we born in America, think about, we're born in this time, right? So America 300 years ago wasn't America. I mean, so we are incredibly fortunate to be born in this time, in this place, and
yeah,
right, for
yeah.
sure.
And I mean, look at our industry. When I went to beauty school in 1974, I went through hell. My mother thought I was gay. Then which didn't matter to me, but obviously it mattered to her. And my mother thought I was nuts. They couldn't figure out I wasn't going to be able to make a living. How much money can you make? And hell, I'll tell you what, beauty's been so terrific to me. I mean, and I really do believe, Josh. I was just asked, Modern Salon last week before last asked me, why do you think you're such a great educator? And I said, it's easy. First of all, I'm a master educator. I read, study, and learn every single day of my life. Secondly, I really do believe that there's greatness inside every person that's listening. I just think that many people will never see the greatness within themselves because they get too caught up in life.
Yeah.
And my job is to bring you back to understanding that the most important thing you can do is to bring that greatness out yourself, create a great life, something you can be valued, you can love.
I so well said. I just feel like that is the perfect way to end our happy hour, because that is what you do. And a debt, the industry owes you a debt. We, the Hafetz family, have known you forever, Geno, and you've done so much for us. And I am excited that that message is what you are going to bring to our peeps in May on the 16th and 17th. So there's a flyer in the recorded comments and the link. There'll be a link there. We'd love to have everyone come and see you in person. Geno, let's do one last, just sort of end the way we started, toasting the fact that it was 1 year ago today that our craft, our livelihood was taken from us. We were, shut down. And so, in case anyone is feeling a little tired, or whatever, this is a moment to savor and rejoice and appreciate the fact that we are rocking, and hopefully we'll be as strong as ever.
Salute.
All right.
I
Thanks.
want Let me close with a
Yeah,
thought.
please do.
This is a perfect time for you, all of you that are listening, to recharge, refuel, reset, and really become aware of that greatness within you. Take advantage of this time. Just because it's COVID, don't let your guard down. Pick your guard up. Make this time work for you. This is your life, and your life is flying by. You don't have time to sit around and complain about what's going on. What you need to do is get back to the excitement, the passion, and fall back in love with beauty. And I'll tell you what, if you need inspiration, come and see me in May. I'm full of it. I'd be glad to give you some, but I will tell you this, you deserve to lead an inspired life. And you should never underestimate the importance of inspiration. And Josh, in regard to you and your family, I'll tell you, I've said this story many times, and a lot of you probably know it, but your father was so very influential in my becoming an educator. And your stepmom, Vicky, my God, my first 4 or 5 articles, I never wrote them. I just had the idea and she wrote them and she made me look and sound. People thought I was smart. I was like, shit, I better start acting smart. And the other thing is, you know what? The beauty industry doesn't owe me anything. They made me rich. They took great care of me. They did me real well, and I'm not going anywhere, so it's gonna keep on getting better and better. All of you, God bless you. Thanks for your time. Tell Josh you want to have me back. I got a lot more to say, and he talks
Yeah,
a
well,
lot.
we are having you back. Save something for
Oh,
May.
that's right. That's
Yeah,
right.
and say
Yeah,
say hi to Barb, and I'll see you soon.
will do. You do the same, Josh. Thank you all so much.
All right, bye,
See you
Geno.
soon, man. Ciao.